Willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome to Gaming the System, a statistical approach to choosing a game to stream, the full version, with light. So if you just want the TLDR, head over to the short version. It'll give you everything you need to know. However, this will give you all of the details that I have at my disposal regarding the statistical nature of choosing a game when you're just starting to stream. So if you're starting to stream, and you're trying to choose a game, and you only really enjoy one. And you're thinking, well, there might be some other games that are really popular that could get me more viewers. They're hot. They're great. Don't. Just play that one game. Because that one game will do better than any other game you could pick because you actually enjoy playing it. However, if you're like me, and you got a queue a mile long, and you need a little bit of help paring it down to what you really should play, there's a bit of statistics that can help you make those sorts of decisions. But I gotta tell you, the system is rigged against you. Because the easiest way to get new viewers is to have more viewers. There's a nice linear correlation here between how many people find your channel and how many people are already watching it. Now, granted, this is a log plot, but it has a slope of 1, so this is a linear relationship. And so, as the number of viewers of your channel goes up, how often your channel is discovered goes up proportionally. Can't do much about this, but it is one of the fundamental concepts of what I'm going to talk about later, so we need to discuss it. And the definition of discoveries, because a discovery is a new person who is logged into the site arriving at your channel for the first time. Now, I'm very specific about that because if they don't have a name, like they're not logged in, it's not going to do you any good. Because people who aren't logged in, they're not going to follow you. They're likely to never see you again. And even if they do, they're putting in a lot of work to make it happen. So in general, these discoveries are people who are logged in. It's the first time they've been to your actual stream. So going forward, instead of looking at the number of discoveries, we're going to look at the number of discoveries per viewer. It's a lot easier to work with, and you can see the effect of the various things you can do on that ratio, which is overall constant, but you can work on pushing your channel upward in the variance instead of down. And there are a couple of things that you can do to make that happen. So the first thing that we look at is one of the things that everybody goes towards when deciding what game to play, the number of people who are watching it. Because they're thinking if there are tons of people watching it, there are tons of people who can come to my channel and watch me. Well, if you're just starting out, it's a terrible idea. You get completely lost in the shuffle. Say you wanted to stream PUBG. There's hundreds of thousands of people watching. But there's also hundreds of people streaming it. Yeah, the top 12 have over 1,000 viewers, but the bottom 200 streamers have literally no one watching them. Not even themselves. And so you can see this trend line, which is a moving median, shows that as you increase the number of viewers of a game, the number of discoveries per viewer goes down, at least in channels that have 1 to 4 viewers. In channels that have 5 to 10, starts off great and then plummets, but it stays pretty close to the overall median and then even comes up a bit, but this might be a vagary of my data. But in the end, you still have this bit at the beginning, and then you get no actual gain from there being more viewers. When you have 11 to 49, it gets even closer to the median. It just hangs out around 1 viewer per 10-minute period showing up at your stream. So here in the first quartile, that's 1 viewer every 20 minutes. And you can kick it up to 1 every 10. Here, it's a little sketchy what happens, but overall, having fewer viewers is better than having more. Third quartile, it's around the median. It's not really helping you much at all. And then once you get to 50 plus, well, there's a period in here where having more viewers does noticeably help, but for the rest of it, it really doesn't. And then it starts to hurt you once the viewership gets really high. So overall, having more viewers of the game doesn't help you at any point. And having less actually helps you at the beginning when you've got very few viewers. Then, if we look at the average number of viewers per game, which people are like, well, maybe it's not the absolute number of viewers because you said there were too many channels. So what if we divide that number by how many channels there are? Okay, here we are with the mean of the viewership of the game. So you take the total number of viewers divided by how many channels there are, and you get something very similar when you've got 1 to 4 viewers. The lower the number, the better, up to about 12. And then it starts getting worse. 5 to 10 viewers doesn't really do you any good and potentially harms you. 11 to 49, no real change. 50 plus, it's okay at the beginning and then no change. So if you got 50 plus viewers, you might consider playing a game with few viewers per channel. It's kind of iffy. But now is when we get to some of the statistics that I hypothesized would lead to better viewership due to looking at the inequality of a channel, looking at how many people are watching the top 20% of channels versus how many are watching the bottom 20% of channels. So this statistic, the interquintile distance, is taking how many viewers are watching the top 20 minus the number of channels who are watching the bottom 20%. And looking at the discoveries per viewer based on that statistic. And as you can see, as inequality mounts, it's worse for the little guy. Not too surprising. In here, the middle bit, overall, no change. But at the beginning, you've pretty much doubled your chances of being found by watching a channel with overall equality. There is very little difference between the top 20% of channels and the bottom 20%. If you got 5 to 10 viewers, look at this huge decline from the beginning of total equality down to a bit of inequality, and then it stops mattering. It's a huge plateau there. Once you get to 11 to 49, not much difference. And then 50 plus, again, when there's no inequality, well, you've got 50 plus viewers. You're a top dog. You don't want equality. You want inequality, which is what's happening right around here. When you're in the 50 plus club and you've got the top channel, it's great for you. But then it gets worse when there are people bigger than you. And then when there are people way bigger than you, it's a big deal. So in general, you only want that inequality when it benefits you. And if you're a new streamer, you've got this 1 to 4, 5 to 10, you want to make sure the game doesn't have that sort of inequality. So you take the top 20%, subtract the bottom 20%, and get a number roughly around 20. These are log-based plots, so e to the 3.5 is about 20. Lastly, I looked at the extreme quintile ratio. So you take the bottom 20% and divide it by the top 20%. So instead of looking at the absolute distance between them, you look at the ratio. So here we've got 0.2, which means the top 20% has 5 times as many as the bottom 20%. And you see, there's not a whole lot of change from this statistic. I think it's personally, it's important to show not flawed, but bad results, because this doesn't say much. You're not getting much change from this. And then you get 5 to 10, again, not much change. I mean, it's implying that you want less inequality, but we got a much better demonstration of it from the interquintile distance. And then once we get to the third there's no change. There's no change at all. And then the fourth, there's literally no change. It's right at the median the whole way across. And so with these statistics, you can look at what's going on in a particular game and up your chances of getting new viewership by choosing actually a less popular game. So I'm going to assume that if you're watching this video, you're in the 1 to 4 range, like me on Twitch. And so you look here, this is the point at which you stop getting gains by looking at a particular size game, where the moving median is equal to the actual median. Right here at 5, that's at about 150 viewers of the game total. Once you go beyond 150 viewers, you go from 1 viewer every 20 minutes to 1 viewer every 40 minutes. If you're doing a 2-hour stream, that's 3 new viewers. It's just no good. Now, it's even better if you dial it all the way back to less than 20. Once you get to less than 20, you've doubled your chances, so it's now 1 every 10 minutes instead of 1 every 20. It's pretty nice. Then, if we look at the average number of viewers per channel, this right here is about 12. This over here is about 4. So an average of 4 viewers per channel, like with the viewership of 20 or less, is likely to get you to that 1 every 10 that we wanted from the viewership. And lastly, with the interquintile distance, a similar 1 every 10 recommendation is right here at 20. So the distance between the top 20 and the bottom 20 is 20. 20, 20, 20, pretty easy to remember. Now, if you look at the extreme quintile ratio, it really doesn't tell you anything useful. I'm showing it to you again just such that you can see it, but you get much more utility out of the 20, 20, 20, out of 12 and 4, and out of 150 and 20. Now, these are preliminary results. I don't have p-values. I don't have anything super statistical for you. I don't have tests. Nothing. This is just exploratory data analysis. If you came here for standard errors, you're not going to find it just yet. I do plan on doing all of that, setting up models for what is actually at play here in a way that I can say whether or not these results are in fact real or if they are random. But if you're convinced by exploratory data analysis, you've got something to work with, and it can potentially help you choose a game that can get you some viewership, as opposed to picking a monster of a game that will just leave you hidden in the dust. If you got any questions about this, if you need ends, I've got 4,000 data points across 333 channels. This was data taken from Twitch over the span of a month, taken at all sorts of times of day, with no discrimination as to geographical region. Any questions that you have, feel free to leave it down in the comment section or head over onto my Discord, and I'd be happy to talk to you about it there. And I do plan on doing this further. If there's anything you would really like to know, all of this is done quantitatively. So no questions about male or female. I don't have an easy way of getting that information. Nothing about face cam or not. I don't have an easy way of getting that. If I had a team, I could totally do those things. But if you have quantitative questions, feel free to ask. Love talking about statistics. But thank you for watching the long version, and not just the short version. And I will see you in the next video of statistics or Isaac or who knows what with light.